Okay, so in our last video, we show, right, the NPV and IRR method not always generate what? Consistent decisions, right? Based on the NPV method, right, the A project generate more net present values. Our choice will be project A. However, if we base on the IRR method, we will prefer to choose project B, right? So you can see the NPV and IRR method. I follow the same cash flows, right? Project A, project B, right? We will choose a different word choice, right? So they are not always consistent. I use these two technicals, right? But for the IR decision rule itself, right? If IR more than the cost of capital, right? Your internal rate of return more than what you cost, right, to raising the capital for the firm, we will take this project. We will accept this project. Okay? So if our goal is to increase our earnings wealth, right, IR is a direct measure of how well this project can increasing our earnings wealth, can meet our goals. Right? So these ones are very good indicator, right? And also it is measured in what interest rate terms. But just be careful, right? NPV and IRR sometimes, right? Sometimes they will not make the same decisions. IR and NPV generally will give us the same decisions. However, there are several exceptions, right? The first one is non-conventional cash flows, right? Cash flows signs change more than once, right? Next one is mutually exclusive projects. Either initial investments are substantially different, or the timing of the cash flows is substantially different, right? What's the meaning of the mutually exclusive? Mutually exclusive means you cannot choose the two projects at the same time, right? You cannot choose both projects simultaneously because you have what? You have limited capital. Right? If you choose one project, you must to give up the other projects, right? So they call mutually exclusive, right? So either or, not both. So let's look at the previous examples. You can see the project A and project B. They actually show some, features quite different of what? Quite different with the timing of the cash flows this company can receive in the future, right? Even A and B both has this, internal rate of returns more than the cost of capital. But which one's better? You can see here. For the B project, the bigger cash flows comes earlier, right? And the small cash flow comes later, right? But for the A project, every year, right, the companies will receive the same amount of cash flows, right? So, of course, if you can receive the bigger cash flows earlier, right, your return will be what? The bigger, right? So that's why the IRR of the B project, right, is more than IRR of A project, right? Even project A has the more net present values than project B. But because the bigger cash flows, the timing comes earlier, right? B has what? Bigger IRR, right? So if we have only, limited capital for the Bennett company, right? So these two will be mutually exclusive. right? And because the timing is also different, right? So now we need to face what? Face some, decisions, right? These decisions can be quite difficult, right? Both will be okay, but which one's better, right? So you need to choose the project A or B. Do we need to follow the NPV method or IRR method, right? Now we need to make our decisions, right? Especially these two are not consistent, right? So which one we need to follow? And that's our discussion for this video, right? So NPV is a direct measure the increase in the value to the firm, right? So whenever there's a conflict between the NPV and any other decision rules, right? Not just for the IRR, and you can see in the following videos, right? We will study the payback period, right? And the other technicals. You will always use the NPV method, right? So NPV method dominates all the other technicals, right? All the other technicals, because these ones are direct measure, right, to the increasing of the value to the owners, right? We mentioned before, right, for the whole cost of the corporate finance, right, our goal is to maximize, right, the shareholders, right, all the owners' wealth, right? So this is a direct measure to meet our goals, right? So this method is the best and dominate all the others, right? So the other technicals just are supplementary, right? Supplementary, technicals, right, to support NPV technicals. If there are conflict, right, if there are some conflicts between NPV and the other technicals, we will always use what? NPV method. Let me show you some examples, right? For example, in this project, we have a sign changed second time, right? You can see here. We have a non-conventional cash flows. Cash flow signs change more than once, right? You can see for these examples, right? This is our outflows, so 90,000 minus is CF0, right? CF1 132,000, CF2 100,000, right? CF3 minus 150,000, right? So you can see the sign change from negative to a positive, right? That's the first time. The sign change from positive to negative second time, right? So more than once. So this is called a non-conventional cash flows, right? In such case, we will say the NPV will different from our decisions for the IRR method, right? So we will use NPV, right, as the decision criteria. Right? Let me show the details, right? For example, if you solve the NPV for these cash flows, right, use our, multiple cash flow keys, right, you will got $1,769.54, right? Or you can use our formula of NPV, right, calculations, right? You discount all the future cash flows, right? Line minus initial cost will be NPV, right? So either use formula or use the calculators. You can get the same numbers for NPV, right? 1769.54. Please write this one down on your paper, right? So NPV is positive, right? Based on the required rate of return 15%, right? For these questions, right? So we will what? We will accept what? This project because NPV is what? Is positive. However, if you use IRR key, right? If you press IRR key for your input, you will solve the IRR equal to what? 10.11%, right? So this one, of course, is less than 15%, right? So based on the IRR method, you will reject this project, right? So you can say NPV will tell you to accept it, right? But IRR in another way, right? In the opposite, right? Will tell you to reject this project. So which one you will follow? As I mentioned, right? As I already summarized and concluded, right? We will follow our NPV method, right? So we will what? We will accept, right? This project. If these two are in a conflict, right? Right? We will follow what? NPV method. Right? Here, just review of the mutually exclusive projects, right? If you choose one, you cannot choose the others, right? For example, you can choose to attend graduate schools, right? Either in Harvard or Stanford, but not both, right, at the same time, because they are in different different state, right? You cannot, attending the class at the same time in different states, right? Only if you can do this one remotely, right? Maybe you can, right? But as a regular graduate students, you need to attending the physical class, right? In a real classroom, right? So you cannot go to both campus at the same times, right? So either or, right? Either or, but not both. For NPV, we will choose the project with the higher NPV. IRR, we will choose the project with what? Higher IRR, but not always what? Consistent, right? We will choose what? NPV method, right? As our key criteria, right? Let's show one more examples, right? For example, these two projects, right? A project, B project, right? For A project, right? More initial cost, right? But also what? More future cash flows, right? And based on IRR methods, right? The project B is better, right? But for NPV method, A generate what? More value, right? So which one you should choose, right? If you already, write down our rules, right? You should choose this one, right? Based on our NPV method, because we already mentioned if these two criteria are in conflict, we will always follow what? NPV method, right? So we will choose what? Project A, not project B. And we can also use our, Excel to plot, the projects, right? Project A, IRR is 19.43%. IRR for the B is 22.17%, right? So they are crossover point, right? Based on different NPV, right? Is equal to 11.8%, right? So you can say if the discount rate less than 11.8%, right? Our A is better than B, but close it, right? But if the discount rate more than 11.8%, right? B will be better than A, right? So our IR method is not very what? It's not very robust, right? With different, requirement of return, right? Our IR method will give you different what decisions, right? So we will not choose this method as our key criteria, but we will choose what? NPV method. Right? You will always use NPV method. Right? IR is not very reliable, right, in the following situations. Once non-conventional cash flows, once mutually exclusive projects. Right? Non-conventional cash flows means the sign of the cash flow changed more than what? More than once. Right? For the mutually exclusive projects, right, either the skills is quite different or the timing of the cash flows, right, is quite different. And also you can choose only one, right, not both. In such case, right, IR will give you, not very robust decisions, right? We will always use NPV method. The next technicals called what? Payback period. What's a payback period? It measures how long take the company to get the initial cost covered. And I can say how long take the company to get the initial cost back in a nominal sense. Right? So how to solve it? We will first estimate the cash flows, right? Then we will subtract the future cash flows from initial cost until, right, initial investment has been recovered. Right? Let's see the detail. For example, right, this is your initial cost, and this is your future cash flows on time 1, time 2, and time 3. So on what year, right, your initial cost will be recovered, right? It's a payback period, right? So let's do this one incrementally, right? We're adding the cash flows, right, to the initial cost to say on what year, what time, right, this one will be recovered. So you can see here, after 1 year, right, so this is your initial cost plus the first year's profit, right, first year's inflow, right, you still have something left on your balance, right? So after 1 year, right, we still cannot recover initial cost. We will need to keep going, right? In the second year, right, your previous balance from the first year, right, then adding more inflows will be still has some number left. So we will need to keep going to the third year. On third year, right, you see the total inflows more than remained balance, right? So on the third year, right, you actually pass zero. So our initial cost on the third years are totally what? Recovered, right? But to be more accurate, right, on the third year, on what months or during what's the proportion of the third year, right, this one's recovered, we can use our remained balance on the third year, right, over total inflows, right, on the third year, right, to track the percentage of the third years. We will cover this what? We will cover this total cost, right? So almost what? Almost 28%, right? So that means what, right? So we have the what? Total 12 months, right? So 30%, right? For example, right, will be what? Will be the April, right? So this one I think maybe is on a March, right? So on the March, right? The late March, right? Our total cost, right, will be recovered, right, during this year. So how to determine is a deal or no deal, right, based on the payback decisions, right? We will need to know what are management numbers, right? What's the firm's use for evaluation of these projects when they use payback, right? For example, if most companies use either 3 or 4 years, let's use 4 years in our numerical examples, right? We solve our payback period in the last examples, right? It's on the third year, right? It's 3.28%. Oh, sorry, 2.28%. Right, 2.28, right? These 2 years already passed. Then plus 28% will be 2.28 years, right? So this one is less than what? 4 years, right? So means you get the initial cost recovered sooner than what's your required years, right? So it means it is what? It is a good project because you recover your cost earlier or sooner, right? So you will take this project, right? If you recover the initial cost more than the required years, right, for the management, right, you will reject this project. So our payback period, right, is very easy to understand, right? And also it measures liquidities, right? Because it shows you how soon you recovered cost, right? It's actually measure what liquidities. You can see here, right? As William Balmos, right, pointed out on the early 1960s, the payback period rules served as a crude risk screening device. The longer the cash is tied up, the greater the likelihood it will be not returned, right? So our payback period is a good measure forward for liquidities, right? To show you what's the default risk, right? What's the liquidity risk, right, for this project. However, payback period also has some very severe drawbacks, right? First one, payback period ignores the time value of the money. Right? You can see when we solve a payback period, we just adding the cash flow directly into the initial cost incrementally. We don't take any discounted value, right? So our payback period ignore the time value of money, right? Even the future money is different from the present values, right? You add this money directly up, right? So it's ignore the time value of money. Second, when you solve this point, right, 3.28%, for example, right, 3.28 years, right, in our examples, you got this one as your recovered years. However, the management team can give a random cutoff point, for example, 3 or 4, right? If they have the 3 years, for example, right, then our 3.28 years will be not okay, right? But if they give the 4 years, it will be fine, right? So this totally random based on management team's subjective choice, right? So sometimes it's not very objective, right? And also our payback period ignore the cash flows beyond the cutoff date. Some projects may be generating more cash flows after payback period, right? For example, for some research and development, right, like our pharmacies, right? For example, now we design what vaccines, right, for the COVID-19, right? For any medical research, right, initial costs will be very huge, right? So maybe they cannot generate many revenue at beginnings. However, after certain years, right, the future cash flow can be huge, right, if they pass the trial 3 stage, right, test. FDA will approve they will make manufacturing, right, of the medicine or vaccines, right, then they can have huge revenues. So you ignore the cash flows beyond the cut-off date. It's not fair. It's not fair, right, for our long-term research and development projects. Right? It's not fair for research and development projects, right? And like I mentioned, right, same thing, right? It is biased against long-term projects such as research and development, and also the new projects, right? So that's the drawback of the payback period. So based on the drawback, the payback period, ignore the time value of money, right? So we can do some improvement of a payback period. Use what? Use discounted payback period, right? Instead, we will use our cash flow directly to adding up incrementally. We will first compute the present value of the cash flows, right? Then we will use our discounted cash flows to adding up discounted, right, cash flow, right, to the initial cost to see how soon you will recover your initial cost, right? So you will accept the project if it pay back on a discounted basis within a specific time. For example, right? Suppose we will accept the project if it pay back on a discounted basis in 2 years. How can we solve what? Discounted payback period, right? Let me do the calculations for our examples. You can see here, right? Our initial cost is $165,000. That's outflows, right? On time 1, you receive what? 63,120 is positive, right? 2 is what? 7,800 positive, right? Times 3 is what? 9,180 positive, right? So we will not adding the number directly up, use the regular discounted payback period. Now is our discounted payback period. So how can we do that? First step, you will solve what? You will solve the discounted value for all these cash flows, right? This on time 1, so it's 63,120, right? Over 1 plus 12%, right? And for this one will be 7,800 over 1 plus 12%, right? Square. Last one will be 9,180 over 1 plus 12%, cubic, right? After you solve this discounted cash flow, DCF1, DCF2, right? DCF3, right? Then you will adding these numbers up, right? To see on what year, right? You will recover its initial cost, right? So you adding this one, right? You can see you still have some balance left, right? Then you adding remaining balance, right, to this one, right? You still have this one left, right? And for last year, these numbers is more than remaining balance, right? So on this year, right, you have all the cash flows recovered, right? To be more accurate, right, you can use what? This is 2 year past, right? Plus remaining balance 52,202, right? Then over these numbers, right? You will solve what's exact numbers, right? You will recover all the initial cost. Okay, now let's pay some attention to this method. Our discounted payback period, right, now improved, right, with the time value of money. However, our discounted payback period method, right, not count for the risk of what? Is this one account for the risk of cash flow? This is yes, right? Because we use our discounted cash flows, right? Is this discounted payback period method account for the risk of the cash flow? Yes, because we use our discounting factors, right? So we already check what's the PV of the what? Each future values, right? So we consider this what discounted factor as a risk factors, right? So this one is okay, right? How about this one? Does the discounted period provide an indication about increasing in the value? No, because we only know what happened before the cutoff point, right? Before we recovered, right? We totally recovered. We know what's going on. But after the cutoff point, after recovered time, we don't know what's going on in the future, right? So even a project, maybe a long-term project, is very good, right? Because it can generate very good cash flows, right, in the long term. But you only pay attention to something before the cutoff, right? So this one is not indicate, right, the value, right, in the increase in the long term, right? So this one's no. Could we consider the discounted payback period rules as our primary decision rule? I can say no, right? Because these ones only give you a rough, pictures, right? How soon you get recovered, right? But you don't know what's the long-term value of this project, especially for the cash flow after recover point, right? After cut-off point, right? So I don't think this one is better than NPV method. NPV method will be still our what? Primary decision rules, right? The last one we will cover for this chapter is called a profitability index, right? So profitability index called PI, right, measures the benefit per unit of cost of the project based on the time value of money, right? So it's computed as what? PV of inflows over PV of what? Outflows, right? So you will look at the timelines, right? And for example, if only initial cost is outflows, right? And all the futures are inflows. And how can we use this method? Right? We will solve the PV of the future inflows. Right? Then divide by what? Initial what? Outflows. Right? Because outflows on the initial is already on time zero. Right? So we have the PV of future inflows. Right? Divided by the PV of what? Outflows. For example, for the same examples, right, we can solve the PI, right, profitability index, right? How can we solve that? Right? You can see here. This is our future inflows, right? This is our initial outflows. So the PI probability index, right, for A projects will be the PV of the inflows minus divided by the PV of what? Outflows, right? Inflows is for all the flows for the time from time 1 to time 5. That's what? 53071. Right? PV of outflows is here, right? 42,000. Right? You can solve the probability index for A project, right? For the project probability index for B projects, right? PV of inflows will be this one, right? 55924, right? Over the outflows, right? 45 thousand, you solve the PI for the B project. Okay? So PI of the A project okay? You can solve this one. Okay? What's the number you got? Right? Should be the 1.26. Okay? And for the B is equal to the 1.14. Right? So based on the probability index, right? A is better than B, right? Because you have the more inflows, right? Compared with what outflows, right? But both is okay because both are more than 1, right? But A seems has a higher what probability index than B. And be careful, right? If the PI more than 1, right? What that means? Means the PV of inflows more than PV of what? Outflows, right? So that means the NPV is what? Is positive, right? Because NPV is equal to the PV of what? Inflows, right? Minus PV of what? Outflows, right? So we can summarize some rules here, right? If the PI more than 1, our NPV is what? Positive, right? It's the PI equal to 1, right? NPV equal to 0, right? If the PI less than 1, right? NPV is what? Less than 0, right? These three are what the rules we can summarize. What's the advantage of the probability index? This index is close related to the NPV method. They generally leading to identical decisions. And also PI index is very easy to understand and easy to communicate. And also PI index is useful when available investment fund are limited, right? So you will choose a project with a higher PI, right? With more inflows than outflows. What's the drawback of this index? Right? The PI index can lead to incorrect decisions in comparison of the mutually exclusive projects. Right? So like our IRR method, right? When you're facing the mutually exclusive projects, right, with different timing of the cash flows or different scale of the cash flows, right? Then you will follow what? NPV method always. So here's a summarize for these technicals we studied in this chapter, right? So we studied the 5 method technicals, right, in this chapter, right? NPV method is our key, right? It's our primary technicals, right? NPV method is measured in a dollar amount, right? So we need to have a project with the positive NPV, okay? And this is the probability index we just measured, and this one is a ratio, right? And this ratio must be more than 1, right? These two are what? Are usually consistent, right? PI more than 1 means NPV is positive, right? And we also have the other 3 methods, right? For internal rate of return is a percentage, right? This one must be more than required rate of return, or you can say more than the cost of capital you raised for this project. And we also study the payback period. That means how soon you recover your initial costs. This one must be less than management teams target year, project years, right? And we also improve this method use a discounted payback period, right? This one should be also less than management, target discounted, time period. And this is measured in the time, in the T. While we try to reporting a feasible analysis for the projects, right? While you're in a conference room, right, you discuss with your team members, right, talking about feasibility of one project, you must to consider several investment criteria, right, while making decisions, right? So basically we will report all these five indicators numbers, right, to make our decisions in total, right? So most managers will using the technicals of the capital budgeting as the part of their job to choose the best projects, right? The payback period is commonly used as a secondary investment criteria, right? It's used when the project costs are small, right? If the project costs are high, it is a long-term projects, right? Such as R&D, right? And this method will be not useful anymore, right? NPV and IR are most commonly used primary investment criteria, right? They are most popular and most useful, right? Especially when the project's costs are large, right? We will see how much value you can create, right, for the owners, right, using these projects, right? Let's do some practice. For example, consider an investment that will cost $100,000, right, and also has a cash inflow $25,000 every year for the 5 years. The required rate of return is 9%. The management required payback is 4 years. What is the payback period? Right, you can see here. Let's draw a cash flow diagram. Right, on time 0, the investment costs $100,000. Right, it's outflows minus 100,000. Right, time 1, you have inflow 25,000. Time 2, 25,000. Okay, time 3, 25,000. Time 4, 25,000. Okay, time 5, 25,000. So what's the payback period? Right, after 1 year, right, 75,000 left. After 2 years, right, 50,000 left. After 3rd year, right, 25,000 left. Right, after 4th year, right, all the initial costs will be recovered, right? 25,000 times 4 equal to what? $100,000, right? So 4 years will be your payback period. Right? What's the NPV method? What's the NPV calculations? NPV is what? The PV of the future cash flows, right? The future cash flows minus what? Initial cost, right? So like I mentioned, you can use different ways to solve this one, right? You can use the CFT, right? So CF0 equal to what? 100,000, right? Minus enter, right? And CO1, right? 25,000, right? FO1, right? 4, right? That's NPV. I equal to what? I equal to the 9%, right? CPT, right? You can solve the NPV, right? Then if you don't press NPV, you press IR directly, right? You will what? You will also press CPT. You can see the answer for what? IR. Should we accept this project or not? We will prefer to use what? Prefer use the NPV method, right? What's the NPV you should solve? Right? The NPV I solved is what? Equal to the minus $2758.22, right? IRR I solved is 7.93%. Okay? So this one is negative, and PV is negative. Right? IRR is what? Less than the cost of capital, less than recovery of return. Right? So both technicals indicate we should what? We should reject this project. Right? Only the payback period is just okay, right? However, you know our payback period is ignore the discounted value, right? Ignore the time value of the money, right? If you use the discounted cash flows, right, then our discounted payback period should be more than 4 years, right? So our project for these questions should be what? Reject. Our primary decisions is based on the NPV, right? The other just are what? Just are supporting, right, criteria. And you can also do another, comprehensive questions, right? Again, use the same thing we did, right, for the last questions, right? So I will not go to the details. Right? So please do this one at home. Right? I put the answer below these questions on the PowerPoints. Right? So please try this one at home. Right? Instead, I will go over all the questions in the homework for this chapter. Right? Please check our videos, right, for more details. If you have any questions and comments, please put the comments below my video on YouTube. Right? And if you can, please subscribe my channel and give me any feedback you want. Right? Thank you.